Hello friends, how are you today? Head of a company and the worker on the shop floor have got exactly 24 hours a day, but they've got very different deliveries. Head of company is delivering something top of the line and worker is delivering on the shop floor. What makes the difference? Why are we talking today on this subject and how will this impact on your professional lives? It is important for you to understand what is important for you and how you are spending your time effectively. That's what we call improving your personal productivity. To be successful, we need two kind of traits. One, having capability, and second, being more productive, being more efficient. Let's talk of what is capability. Capability is your expertise in that area. How good are you in your subject matter? And that comes with your experience by looking out into the reference material in the market, looking what's happening in the market, what's the latest in the market, and how you can deploy in your area. So that gives you a depth of knowledge. Let's talk of productivity. Productivity is something how efficient you are doing your deliveries in a given amount of time. So we call it how broad your work span is. Capability gives you the depth of work plan. Productivity gives you how broad your work plan is. How many activities you can deliver in a day. And that's where a chairman who is responsible for dealing with complexities in the work has to deal with various jobs in a day. So how does he manage that? So very interesting. I was reading a book from by Mr. Chandramouli. The title is Catalyst. He says that there are two techniques to be more productive. The first one is circle of influence and circle of concern, and the second one is know your rocks technique. Now let's understand each one of them one by one. The first one is circle of influence versus circle of concern. So I'm sharing a slide with you, some data. So there are two circles, inner circle and the outer circle. Inner circle represents the circle of influence and the outer circle is circle of concern. What is the difference? Circle of influence is something where you can make influence on the activities you are doing. You are in charge. You have got a job to do. You can plan your activities. You can reach out to people for help. You can make people work. So you are, whatever decision you take will help in delivery and the quality of that work. Done. Now what is circle of concern? The outer circle. Circle of concern is something where you are concerned about something but you can't do anything. Imagine you are working in a company and your supervisor changes. His style of working is very different than your previous boss and may not be the way you work. So you are concerned, but can you do anything about it? No. Mr. Trump changes the H-1B visa norms for working in the US. It is a concern for Indian government, Indian technocrats. But can we do anything about it? No. So if you remain in the circle of concern, you are spending time, you are degenerating yourself, but it is not productive because you can't do anything. So it is better that you focus on the circle of influence. That's where you got the power. That's where you can make a change. So to be a successful corporate person, you need to focus on the circle of influence. Make your time investment intelligently and be in the circle of influence. Be conscious. Where are you spending your time? At the end of the day, make a chart, make a list of activities you do. Where are you spending your time? Be very focused. Now let's jump to the second productivity techniques. We call it rocks first technique. Know your rocks. What are the rocks? Imagine you have got a day job. You got a list to do, list of activities to do. The most important things to do, which are on priority, imagine they are the big rocks. And the rest of the activities which are not as important and not high on the priority list, they are the pebbles or the sand. You have got 24 hours in a day. Imagine a jar which is a representation of time and energy you have in a day. Take two scenarios. In first scenario, you fill that jar with sand and pebbles first, which means you are spending your time and energy on less important things and maybe less priority things. After the jar is half full, you start to pour in the big rocks, which means then you start to address the important things which are high on priority, but you're taking late in the day. Let's see what happens. As you start to fill the rocks, you will find that you don't have enough space in the jar for a couple of big rocks, which means you still have got a lot of important things in life to address. They will come and bite you back if you don't address them in time. Number one. Number two scenario. Same jar, fill that jar with the big rocks first. Address your important things, address the high priority things first. You will still be left with the space in the jar. Fill that space with the sand and small pebbles. You will find that sand and small pebbles will find their way in the jar, which means you will be able to address those problems, those important things, while you address the most important things in your life. Life is your time in the day. So in both the scenarios, you saw that in first scenario, you had a lot of important things to address. In second scenario, you were able to address your important things, but still managing the small or less important, less priority things at the same time. So scenario 2 is the way to go, is the way to approach in your life. So I'll just recap two things. First, know your circle of influence, circle of concern, and where you're spending your time. And second, know your rocks. Know what are your important things in life. Address them first. And then you can address the less important things as per the time you have. So I'll wrap up here with the message: know your area of influence and know your rocks. All the best. Thank you.